You know that moment when a kid asks you a question that seems so simple, but it just kind of stumps you? When they look up at you and ask about something they can feel but can't see, like the wind? Well, that's not a test. That's an invitation. So today, we're going to figure out how to turn that tricky question into a really cool moment of discovery.
Ah, there it is, the big one. You gotta love this question, right? It's just so brilliant. It shows that this little mind is working hard, trying to connect the dots. Now, it's also a question that can make any of us just pause for a second. But don't worry, today, we're building the perfect toolkit to answer it with confidence and yeah, have a little fun with it.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the question itself. Then, we'll get into a simple framework to make invisible science feel totally real. After that, we've got 3 fantastic, age-appropriate answers ready to go. We'll follow that up with a super simple magic trick to bring it all to life. And we'll wrap up by talking about what this is really all about, sparking that lifelong curiosity.
Okay, so first things first, this is all about a little shift in your mindset. See, the goal isn't just to spit out a fact, it's about creating this shared experience, right? A little adventure where you and your kid are exploring together. It's really about that connection.
Now, before we even think about giving an answer, we need a method. And this is a really powerful strategy for any idea that's kind of abstract. The idea is super simple. Before you try to explain it, you've got to help them feel it. Let's break down exactly how to do that.
So this gives us a simple 4-step playbook. Step 1, just stop and observe. Ask them, hey, close your eyes. What does the wind feel like? Step 2, do a little mini experiment. Have them blow on their own hand to show them they can actually make wind. Step 3, use analogies. Think fun stories about air rushing around. And finally, step 4, connect it all back to the big boss, the ultimate engine of it all, the sun.
All right, with that framework locked in, it is time for the main event. We're going to look at 3 fantastic field-tested answers, and each one is tailored perfectly to where a kid is at developmentally. You can just pick the one that feels right for you.
So for our youngest scientists, we don't need to get into complex physics, we just need imagination and play. This first answer is all about creating a picture in their head that's memorable, it's delightful, and it's something they can even act out right away.
I mean, how great is that? You can even add a little achoo if it's a really big gust of wind. This is such a brilliant way to explain moving air. And you can immediately follow it up, you know? Ask them to take a deep breath and blow on a leaf to show them how their own whooshy yawn can move things too.
Okay, for kids who are a little bit older, we can move from just pure imagination into telling a simple story. What we're doing here is introducing cause and effect, this core idea that air is always in a hurry to go fill up an empty space.
And here's how the story goes. Imagine the sun is like a giant hairdryer, warming up the ground. That makes the air right above it get super light, so it just floats up, leaving behind a little empty spot like a hole. Well, the cold, heavy air nearby sees that empty spot, and it rushes in to fill it. And that big rush, yep, that's the wind. It's like an invisible race.
Okay, so for the older kids who are ready for some real scientific terms, we can level up again. We're going to keep it simple, I promise, but we're going to start introducing the real words they'll hear in science class, starting with this idea of air pressure.
Let's break it down. Think of high pressure like a super crowded room, just tons of heavy air all packed in together. And low pressure? Well, that's the opposite. It's an almost empty room with way less air. The wind is basically just the air deciding to leave the crowded room and move into the nice, empty one.
And there you have it. That's pretty much a fundamental rule of weather science in one clean sentence. You're giving them the exact same story of rushing to fill a hole, but now you're using the official names for it, high pressure and low pressure. It's a great way to connect what they feel on their face to a real scientific principle.
So talking about this is great, but doing something is even better. Now we're going to take all these ideas and prove them with a super simple little activity that honestly feels like a magic trick. We're going to make that invisible force of wind totally visible right in your living room. And don't worry, you do not need a science lab for this. Just grab a ribbon, maybe a piece of tissue paper or a feather, and a small fan or a hairdryer. And definitely make sure you use the cool setting on the hairdryer for, obvious reasons.
So here's what you do. Turn on the fan and just hold the ribbon in that stream of air. And as it starts dancing around, you can say, look, the fan is pushing the air, and that moving air is pushing the ribbon. The wind outside is the exact same thing. It's just a much, much bigger push that gets started by the sun. It's just a perfect tangible aha moment.
So as we wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second to the most important part of this whole thing. This was never really just about wind. Getting the perfect scientific definition right, that's not the prize. The real goal here is to show a kid that their questions are amazing and that finding the answers together is one of the best adventures you can have.
And here's the biggest takeaway. You do not need to be a meteorologist. You just need to be present, and you need to be curious right alongside them. When you honor their question like that, you're teaching them that the world is this fascinating place that's totally worth exploring. You get to be their guide to wonder.
And that just leaves us with one final thought. Wind is only one of many invisible forces all around us, right? I mean, think about gravity, or magnetism, or even sound waves. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What other invisible forces can you and your young scientist make visible together?